Hello everyone, good evening. So today I am going to discuss about neocolonialism in Petals of Blood. So we have a paper of African literatures in which I have selected the topic from a novel Petals of Blood. This is the table content. First I will introduce author, then introduce the novel, and further we will see what is neocolonialism, then neocolonialism in Petals of Blood, conclusion and citation. So let's start with author's introduction. Ngugi Thiong'o is a Kenyan writer who writes primarily in Gikuyu and who formerly wrote in English. His works includes novels, plays, essays, short stories, ranging from literary and social criticism to children's literature. He is the founder and editor of the Gikuyu language journal Mutiri. His famous works are The Black Hermit, Not Child, River Between, A Grain of Wheat, Decolonizing the Mind, Devil on the Earth, Wizard of the Crow, and Matigari. Now further, let's introduce the novel first. The novel, the full title of the text is Petals of Blood, written by Ngugi Thiong'o, and the genre of the text is novel, and the novel was published in 1977. The setting was Kenya, and just after independence. The protagonists are Vanja, Munira, Abdullah, and Karega. So, the story follows four characters, Munira, Abdullah, Vanja, and Karega, whose lives and intervened due to Mau Mau rebellion. In order to escape the city life, each retreat to the small coastal village of Ilmoro. As the novel progresses, the characters deal with the repression of the Mau Mau rebellion as well as with the new rapidly westernized Kenya. The novel largely deals with the skepticism of change after Kenya's independence from colonial rule, and questioning to what extent free Kenya merely emulate and subsequently perpetuate the oppression found during its time as a colony. Other themes of the novel we can see is capitalism, politics, education, school, and Mau Mau rebellion also concluded in it. So before we see neocolonialism in Petals of Blood, we have to understand what is colonialism first. Colonialism it is a policy of a strong nation in seeking political and economic hegemony over an independent nation or extended geographical area without necessarily reducing the subordinate nation or area of the legal status of a colony. The term neocolonialism was first used in 1965 by Kwame Nkrumah after World War II to refer to the continuing dependence of former colonies on foreign countries. As Roland Cook gave a simple definition of neocolonialism, that neocolonialism can be defined as the indirect control of the economic, political, and socio-cultural life of African countries by their former colonial masters. Unlike colonialism, which was direct control, and neocolonialism operates indirectly and secretly. Further, we see that in neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism, Nkrumah has offered an in-depth critique of neocolonialism. He also argued that neocolonialism is the final and the most perilous stage of imperialism, since the old-fashioned ways of colonization no more exist. The imperialist power direct their domination indirectly on the economic system, politics and cultural base of a decolonized nation. And further, we can see that Saurav Kumar said in his article that to use the term neocolonialism is to accept the perpetuation of the imperialistic oppression and colonist domination in the different and essentially new formal even after the achievement of independence. Now let's see neocolonialism in Petals of Blood. As we know that the novel starts with the news of murder of Zigo, Chui and Kimeria, and for this murder, Vanja, Munira, Karega and Abdullah, all characters are suspected that they had murdered these all three people. And Ilmorov is a city and has just got independence and grown from traditional Kenyan village to a modern industrial town. Now, according to Josephine Sitwala, the modernization of the area brings changes with Gugiwa Thiong'o regarded as example of neo-colonization. He does not accept the urbanization of Ilmorov because it has destroyed its original beauty and as such brought suffering to its inhabitants. And the focus of neo-colonialism in Petals of Blood is land and is based on social abuse, oppression, exploitation and injustice. Further, we can see the novel shows the failure of the ruling elite to meet the mass needs concerning land ownership adequately. The elite still maintain their connection with the departed colonizers, thus creating a rift between the middle class and the Borichis. A speech given by Yakin Yuva contrasts the working class and the elite. The motivates her to agree to make a trip on Nairobi against the landowner who grabbed their lands. She said that I think we should go. It is our time to make things happen. There was a time when things happened the way we in Ilmorov wanted them to happen. We had power over the movement of our limbs. We made up our own words and sang them and we danced to them. But there came a time when this power was taken from us. We danced, yes, but somebody else called out the word and the song. They ate our forest. Then they sent for our young men. They want to swallowing our youth. Ours is only to bear in order for the city to take. That is why Ilmorov must go there and see this Dimartya that only takes but never gives back. Further, we can see that in work, Writers in Politics by Gugiwa Thiong'o, he made a significant comment regarding this novel, Petals of Blood. He said that no country, no people can be truly independent for as long as their economy and culture are dominated by foreigners. This was what I was trying to show in Petals of Blood, that imperialism can never develop our country or develop us Kenyans, and started establishing their own government and control over economy. As we see in the novel, foreigners invested in the bar that Abdullah and Vanja is running, and because of Thangaita drink, the Ilmorov become more famous rather than earlier time. So foreign country and foreigners also invested in them, and also the politicians and political leaders who and we can say allied people also invested in this bar, because it becomes the attraction for foreigners, and it developed as a tourist place. And further, we see the statement of weeping and song. They said that Gugiwa Thiong'o also adapted the collective African voice to demonstrate the general opinions of the African people toward the neo-colonial activities. With the building of Trans-Africa Road, Ilmorog was put into the agenda of fast development and modernization. The land was taken from the people, shopping centers and tourist centers and other infrastructure were constructed, machines and measuring instruments of different kinds were used to promote the economy. Further, we can see that females being oppressed by male and Africa's being exploited by the colonists have the same ideological basis. Here we, in the novel, we see the comparison of a woman character with the country. That country was exploited by the elite people and who have power and money, and female is controlled by male. Women were described as oppressed because they were exploited and dominated, and subaltern nations too were oppressed on the same basis. They were exploited and dominated by colonial or imperial powers. As I have discussed, a woman is controlled by male, and they are oppressed by male, as well as the country and their economy is oppressed by the allied people. Further, we can say that as Weeping and Zhang said, as object of sexual desires, both Wanja's nature body and the fertile African land were exploited. By narrating Wanja's past, Gugiwa Thiong'o expressed his harsh criticism against the imperialist control and domination of Africa. And the politician Deriva Riorio, he is only concerned with the votes of Ilmorog and election, and he ignores the social and economic needs of remote areas such as Ilmorog. We see the corruption that done by the politician Deriva Riora. He also play a vital role in grabbing the land of farmers and exploit workers. So there is a oppression of women and also the workers, and also the exploitation of farmers we can observe here in the novel. We can conclude this topic with the statement that the petals of blood is the petals of in the petals of blood. Gugiwa Thiong'o described the terrible situation after African independence. We show sharply different views toward the imperialist new way of exploiting and controlling Africa. As Africa got independence, they think that they are now free from the colonies who are ruling them, but after got independence, the place was taken by the allied people or the politician who has lot of money to control over the people with their money and with the corruption also. And the narrators of this novel allow a different African voice, their own stories, their plight and rebellion against the power, which is shown by Gugiwa Thiong'o in the novel. For Gugiwa Thiong'o, the African females were driven to be prostitute directly because of the imperialist exploitation. However, these females, like other proletariats would take action to fight. And the conflicting narrative of Ugiwa Thiong'o reflect his opposition concerning neocolonialism, and one as an insider opposing it, while the other as an outsider standing by it. At last, we can say that Gugiwa Thiong'o has caustic criticism against the middle class of Africa, who derive power from the common people during the anti-colonial struggle, and after independence drive it to from a crazy relationship with the Western bourgeois. These are my citations. Thank you.
Okay, questions?
Lata, my question to you is neocolonialism affected in India? And if yes, how? And if no, how?
Yes, we see the impact of neocolonialism in India also. There are many ways of affecting India, but according to me, the most important is economically, because there are many companies, foreign companies also, and their investment in Indian companies. So if there is anything happening in India also, the economy, the shareholders are foreigners, so they can change their decisions and affecting Indian economy also.
Lata, my question to you is, what are the other issues discussed along with neocolonialism in Petals of Blood?
Yes, there are many other issues that concerned by Gugiwa Thiong'o, is like social and economical problems, education, and the exploitation of peasants and workers, and under the working of foreigners.